Underlying love, beneath the surface it lies, in the whispers of secrets and unspoken ties, caught between the heart's gentle tug and the dance of romance, in the arms of love.
You are listening to Bradley Barkhurst's Underlying Love, a Worthington, Ohio mystery. Chapter 11, Part 1, The Policy of Truth. As dusk fell with no sign of Amy, Elizabeth's mind raced to think of clues to the girl's whereabouts. Suddenly, she remembered something Amy had mentioned after trying on her Halloween costume.
Sometimes I like to play Wizard of Oz by the river in the woods,
the girl had once said happily. Outside of their houses, Elizabeth gasped and turned to Betty.
I think I know where she might be. The Olentangy River. Grab your flashlight.
Betty nodded excitedly.
Will do, let's hurry.
Elizabeth rushed into her house, where she quickly phoned Samuel, catching him up in a rush. Soon, he pulled up in his uncle's car.
Get in, we're going to the river,
Elizabeth cried. Samuel stepped on the gas as they sped off. Samuel drove the car west, passing the high school on Granville Road. He then pulled off the road. The three walked towards the river. Drawing closer, Betty scanned the darkening woods with her flashlight anxiously.
There, by that big oak tree, stop,
Elizabeth suddenly exclaimed. Peering into the gloom, she spotted a small figure in a blue dress. The figure's arms wrapped around a tree, with the Olentangy River's water raging around it. Heart leaping, Elizabeth jumped out and ran over.
Amy.
Miss Russo!
Cried Amy. Amy looked up, frightened, but unharmed. There was just enough patch of land below to prevent her from being swallowed by the river.
I'll get the rope from the car,
said Samuel, before he ran back to the car. Soon, he was back with rope in tow. He tied a loop around the rope like a lasso. Just like a cowboy wrangler, Samuel threw the rope to little Amy. Motioning to put the rope loop around her waist, Amy grabbed onto the rope.
Tie it around your waist, sweetheart,
yelled Samuel to the poor girl.
What if you lose it?
Responded Amy fearfully.
I won't, sweetheart, tie it tight,
Samuel said with confidence. Amy managed to get the rope around her waist, just as the river's raging water knocked her off the patch of land. With all their effort, Elizabeth and Samuel pulled the little girl to shore with Betty, shining her flashlight the entire way. Samuel scooped the little girl up in his arms. Removing the rope, Amy was wet and coughing, but okay. Elizabeth swept her into a tight embrace.
You're safe now, sweetie. It's okay.
With Samuel carrying Amy back to the car and wrapping her up in a nice, warm blanket, she met Elizabeth and Betty's relieved smiles. The search was over, ending in joy. Darkness had not prevailed that night. In the car, Elizabeth gently asked Amy,
Why did you come out here, sweetie?
Amy sniffed back her wet tears.
Mom and Dr. Bentley were fighting something awful last night. I thought maybe the Wizard of Oz lived in these woods and maybe he could make things okay again.
Elizabeth stroked her hair soothingly.
It's all right now, you're safe.
She tucked a blanket around the shivering child. They soon arrived at Amy's house. When she emerged tired but unharmed, Mrs. Collins came flying out the door.
Where have you been? You could have froze to death,
she cried, grabbing Amy's shoulders.
I'm sorry, Mama.
Amy mumbled, head down. Mrs. Collins just clutched her daughter tight. Relief washing over her features. Samuel squeezed Elizabeth's hand before driving off. Watching Amy reunite with her mother, Elizabeth was filled with gratitude. The long night had ended well for the little girl. She bid them good night and walked wearily home with Betty. Though questions remained, at least innocence had prevailed tonight. The storm clouds were dissipating over Worthington. Returning home, Elizabeth was crestfallen to find all the evidence she'd gathered. The cigar, Goodyear letter, photos, had been stolen in the break-in. She felt hopeless about making progress now. Just as she was about to break down in tears, Elizabeth felt something in her pocket. Pulling it out, she realized it was the small notebook she used to scribble case notes. Flipping it open, the paper scrap from the Collins trash fell out. Picking it up, Elizabeth examined the document closely. It was a voided check made out to Jacob Bailey for $500 for services rendered, and signed by Dr. Edgar Bentley. Elizabeth's eyes widened. This must be payment to Milkman Bailey for his role in their twisted scheme. A vital piece of evidence, after all. New determination coursed through Elizabeth. The break-in had been a desperate, foolish move by the culprits. They didn't realize she still held this damning clue. Running next door, Elizabeth burst into Betty's and breathlessly filled her in. Betty's eyes gleamed.
Well, now, they're not as clever as they thought.
She patted Elizabeth's hand.
This is the beginning of the end.
Elizabeth nodded firmly, clutching the precious scrap. The light of truth was proving impossible to extinguish. Justice would soon be served. As November progressed, the day arrived for Elizabeth and Betty's Thanksgiving dinner invitation at Samuel's Uncle Howard's house. They dressed nicely and took a cab over.
Oh, confound it. I'm still hunting for that Jell-O recipe to make my famous dessert.
Betty tutted. When they arrived, Samuel, his Uncle Howard, and Howard's wife Rosemary welcomed the two. Betty insisted on helping Rosemary prepare the stuffing, but she became distracted, chatting and let it burn to a crisp in the oven. Chaos ensued, with smoke billowing through the kitchen as Howard and Betty frantically tried airing out the mess.
Good heavens, Betty, you've incinerated it.
Howard exclaimed in dismay.
Oh, fiddlesticks, I'm no domestic goddess, clearly.
Betty admitted sheepishly. Elizabeth tried not to laugh at the debacle. Samuel gave her a playful wink.
Not to worry, we'll scrape together a feast yet.
He assured Howard. Despite the rocky start, they were able to cobble together a delicious turkey dinner with all the fixings. Preparing the hearty meal, spirits were merry and warm. Elizabeth gazed happily at her makeshift family, feeling profoundly grateful. During a private moment, Samuel asked Elizabeth how her investigation was progressing. She dejectedly shared that a lot of her evidence had been stolen during the break-in.
I'm feeling ready to give up.
She admitted. But Samuel embraced her reassuringly.
Don't lose heart.
He urged.
You're so close to cracking this case wide open.
Bolstered by his encouragement, Elizabeth resolved to keep pursuing the truth. Soon, they gathered in the dining room with Howard, Rosemary, and Betty for the hearty Thanksgiving feast.
Thank you for listening to Bradley Barkhurst's Underlying Love, a Worthington, Ohio mystery. Be sure to like and subscribe and purchase the novel. Will Elizabeth find the confidence to keep investigating? Will the Thanksgiving meal turn out okay after Betty burnt the stuffing? And will Betty find her missing Jell-O recipe? Be sure to tune into the next episode. Chapter 11, Part 2, The Policy of Truth.